He spat on my face in front of everyone. The music was still playing. Soft jazz, low chatter, glass clinking, but in that instant, the room froze around me. The spit dripped down my cheek, warm and humiliating. Yet, I didn't move. His laughter cut through the silence like a saw. "She's mine at work," he said, leaning in close, reeking of whiskey. "Wait for your turn, husband." He didn't know who I was. Not really. My wife's hand tightened around his arm, a nervous laugh tumbling out as she tried to defuse the moment. Her face said, "Don't make a scene." I didn't. I simply wiped my face, looked him dead in the eye, and smiled. That smile cost me more restraint than most men could muster. That was the night everything aligned. I met her 7 years ago at a conference in Seoul. She was radiant, confident, sharp, with a mind that cut through boardroom noise lie, that cut through boardroom noise lie, his lie, get cut through boardroom noise lie. We built something beautiful out of mutual respect. She pushed me to start my firm. I helped her rise through corporate ranks. For years, we were a power couple until power became her only language. Then came him, her boss, Richard Lang, CEO, 52, divorced twice, a predator wrapped in a tailored suit. I'd met his type before in boardrooms and mergers, arrogant men who believed control was love and attention was ownership. At first, it praise. Late meetings, unreturned calls, a shift in her tone when she said his name, too soft, too careful. I brushed it off as stress. But soon I noticed the patterns, the new perfume she never wore for me. Her phone always face down, a lingering scent of his cologne in her car. Control isn't about confrontation, it's about observation. So I watched quietly. I mirrored her distance, gave her all the rope she needed. Within weeks, she was hanging herself. Within weeks, she was hanging herself. Within weeks, she was hanging herself. The final proof came one night when she came home late thinking I was asleep. Her phone lit up on the nightstand, his name flashing in bold letters. "Can't stop thinking about tonight." I didn't rage. I didn't break things. I simply memorized the message, then deleted it. The next morning, I looked at her over coffee and asked, "Big project lately?" She blinked. "Yeah, the merger. Richard's been helpful." I finished for her, smiling. She found for her, smiling. She found for her, smiling. She found full, she, flashing oh. That's when the plan began. I own a private equity firm, small but powerful. And what Richard didn't know was that one of his board members, our mutual friend, as she liked to call him, was also my client, a quiet man who owed me favors, documents, and trust. Through him, I got access to LandCorp's books, shaky financials, inflated asset values, a pending SEC audit they'd buried under charm and bribes. I didn't need to distrit. I started by investing quietly in a competitor, then leaked LandCorp cooked numbers to a journalist I knew from my days in consulting. Within weeks, the story hit the financial press like wildfire. LandCorp stocks plummeted. Board members panicked. Richard's reputation cracked. He had no idea I was the one tightening the noose. But that wasn't enough because she was still his shield, still smiling beside him at those damned events, pretending she wasn't drowning in guilt. So I let her. I wanted her to taste the fear of collapse, the same fear she'd once replaced me with. And that brings me back to that party. Richard was drunk on his own ego, oblivious that his empire was hours from implosion. My wife stood beside him, glass of champagne trembling in her hand. She half beat sin. She knew I knew, but she couldn't prove what I'd done. That was part of the game. When he spat on me, I saw the final piece fall into place. Security rushed over, guests whispering. He laughed it off, clapped me on the shoulder, and called me the little husband. I didn't react. I didn't need to because 20 minutes later, his CFO walked into the ballroom, pale as death, whispering something in his ear. I saw the blood drain from his face. The dog drained from his face. Fiat. The blood drained from his face. Blood being lovers. The board had voted an emergency session. His assets were frozen. His company, The kingdom he ruled with arrogance was gone. He stumbled toward me, realization dawning. You? I smiled. Me? That's all I said. He lunged, but I stepped back. Security caught him before he reached me. Cameras flashed, phones recorded. Within seconds, the story shifted from corporate hero to CEO meltdown at gala. My wife stood frozen between us. My wife stood frozen between us. My wife stood frozen between us. She understood. Then I leaned close enough for her to hear, my voice calm, almost kind. He chose a king built on sand. I just gave him the tide. The divorce was quiet. She didn't fight it. I left her the house, the car, everything she thought mattered. All I wanted was peace. Richard Lang vanished from headlines within months, replaced by fresher scandals. Last I heard, he was selling consultancy services online under a fake name. As for her, she called once months later just to say, I didn't know you could be that cold. I told her, you never saw me. You saw the version that believed in you. Then I hung up. People mistake revenge for rage, but it's not about anger. It's about correction, balance. Some betrayals don't deserve forgiveness. They deserve precision. He thought she was his at work. She thought she could outsmart love, and neither of them knew that I built the grab and gap. When he spat on my face, he gave me permission. When she stayed silent, she sealed her fate. And when I walked away that night, calm, clean, and untouched, I finally realized what power truly feels like. Not in taking something from them, but in making them live without it.